Greetings, everyone. What is up with the bad food? And by that I mean, probably in my lifetime, there's always been every year recalls. Something has been found, some contamination, something. One company had a rat jump in something, and that was the end of that. You know, they had to recall, stop production. But it's almost gotten to the point where every day there's something being recalled. Now, what I want to do for just a moment, because I asked them to get me a list of from January of this year through July, and that's the time we're taping this. You may see this in later in the year, and of course the numbers will go up. All right, now this is, I'm just going to read this. Kraft Heinz turkey bacon recall, 367,810 pounds of Oscar Mayer turkey bacon are recalled due to potential listeria contamination. All right. The beef stew, the Hormel beef stew, which I've eaten before, it's really good, to be honest with you, had to recall 256,185 pounds of canned beef stew after discovering, now watch this, possible wood contamination. Wood contamination. Now, I'm thinking to myself, how would wood have gotten in there? Bologna mislabeling, 143,416 pounds of ready-to-eat bologna due to misbranding and undeclared meat ingredients. Johnsonville cheddar bratwurst. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I call it bratwurst. I hope that's correct. I guess it depends on if you're from the north or south. The recall was 22,672 pounds of the cheddar product that had contamination with hard pieces of plastic. Okay. Fresh and ready food sandwiches. Another outbreak that led to a recall of ready-to-eat sandwiches and snack items. Bender Growers cucumbers were linked to salmonella outbreak, resulting in a recall affecting multiple states. Then the August Egg Company eggs due to a salmonella outbreak. And so what is really interesting about this is the FDA reported 51 food recalls in January and 26 in February compared to 45 and 39 the same months of 2024. And there's also been some dairy recalls where they're concerned with what's called microbiological contamination and handling issues. Now, there's always been, if you remember, the price of eggs went up some time back. Actually, it was under President Biden. But what happened was there was some problems with the chickens, and they had to kill just tens of thousands of chickens. They also had to, there have been storms that took out, for example, there was a fire in Texas that took out a big cattle ranch. There have been cattle that have been found diseased. There have been, as beef prices have gone up. So you have animals themselves with certain viruses or certain things that they find that you have to do away with those particular birds, whether it be turkeys or chickens or maybe cattle. You have, for example, natural disasters, which can happen. Now, that doesn't affect it as much, but when you have 50 tornadoes that come through farms or hurricanes of that nature, it just can tear up the fields. You have that taking place. So with the combination of what's taking place, which is food contamination that have led to consumer hospitalization and also several consumer deaths, then the government steps in and recalls that particular product. And I can't imagine having spent the money to harvest the food, put it together, to can it, whatever the case may be, then getting a recall saying, well, somebody found a piece of plastic, so now we're going to have to go on all the grocery shelves and pull this food out. Now, I do believe that the United States at this point has probably the highest level of food regulations, maybe of any country in the world. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. However, one of the things that's taking place is with the Trump administration and RFK Jr. being in charge of making America healthy again. That's the biggest assignment in world history, making America healthy again, okay? But they're doing away with things like the red colored dye, and they're changing the actual dye to using turmeric or using beets, which that's a great idea. However, you have companies, and I saw this the other day, such as the M&M company that does use the red dye in the outside of their shell for their M&Ms, that a lot of companies are kind of trying to resist some of this, and other companies are literally shutting down in the United States. One company, as you know, I think it's General Mills, that produces a different type of Cheerios cereals. Well, they've completely cut a lot of those particular cereals off. Some companies are moving outside the U.S. where there's lesser regulations. So I think it's very interesting that when you, and I'm tying this together here, that when you come into the book of Revelation, especially when the four horsemen are marching, and I personally don't believe that has happened at all, but when you get to that point, you find that there is a particular horse that says that there is a famine in the earth, covering the earth, and that you see in this famine that if you look at the prices mentioned in Revelation and the cost and the coin, which is the denarius, which is used in the Greek, and you compare it to today, it would be a loaf of bread costing a day's wage, which means that there's this massive wheat and barley shortage that is taking place all around the earth. Now, some of that can be because of war. You know, the Ukrainians produced a lot of sunflower oil and a lot of oils that were used in the Middle East for the falafels and for baking their bread, which bread is a huge thing, especially among the Arab population and among the Jewish population. It's a big staple all throughout the Middle East, and especially in the Arab and Islamic nations. It is, everybody has bread. And so when that war took place, there was a shortage of those oils being shipped out. And war causes a lot of conflict in the area of transporting first of all, of getting into the fields safely where you can harvest a field, then getting it processed in the country, and then getting it on trucks to the ports, because the roads are blown up, the railroads are blown up, the airports are impacted. So that caused a lot of challenges with oil and certain other types of necessary elements and products to create food. And so you have the war situation. You have in some nations severe famines that hit. You also have in the United States the terrible floodings that take place or droughts that take place. And you do have farms that do get affected with the tornadoes that come through. You have hurricanes, and so the earthquakes in some areas as well. In the part of the world, you have the volcanic eruptions. And when volcanoes erupt, the ash from the volcano, if it settles into the farmland, it messes up the farmland for quite some time, because it smothers the ability for the young plants to grow. It destroys food, etc. So what I'm trying to say to you is that we need to be aware of the fact that with the natural disasters that are on the horizon, that will increase because of Matthew 24 and verse 8, the birth pains taking place on the earth, and because of the other elements that are involved with this, which are the viruses and the contaminations that are coming out of the places that produce or refine, or whatever the case may be, our food supply, I don't think it's in like imminent danger at this point, but I would say that there could be down the road globally actually an impact on different types of food and food supplies. And there are people that will tell you that, to store up certain things if you possibly can, long-term food, freeze-dried food, all these things I don't think are a bad thing to do because of the natural disasters that could strike. And, electricity could be off for a week, 2-3 weeks in some areas. Actually, some places it's longer than that. So I would just suggest to all of you who hear me share this, to be aware of the times in which we're living, to be aware of these type of reports, and not to go into a panic mode because of it, but use wisdom. And when you can get yourself, we have, food that's dried supply, 25-year supply. So if we ever should need it, because we live not far from nuclear power plants, and you have to have certain things that if you live near a nuclear power plant, they suggest that you have. We do all that. We do that for our staff. So again, we always share with you that when you hear things like this is not to scare people, it's to prepare people, because Proverbs says a prudent man or woman, whatever the case may be, foresees or can detect or discern something is about to happen. And so they prepare for that. And I know there's some things that happen so quick, like the terrible flood that happened in Texas, that happened so fast and so quick that within just minutes, the waters were rising and people were stuck where they were. They couldn't get to vehicles. If they got in a vehicle, the waters took the vehicle up and took it away. It was one of the most horrible things to think it being a Christian camp, and so many beautiful Christian children. Well, they're now with the Lord, so that's the one thing that the parents can look forward to, is seeing them again, because they have a relationship with Jesus. But boy, it doesn't take away the pain and the hurt and the grief that's going on now. We need to pray for those folks. But because of all the things taking place, just be aware of your family, your family's needs. And I always suggest to people to have a month's supply of additional foods that are long-term foods somewhere, and just keep them in a dry place in the event that those foods are needed. So I have just been intrigued by this, because every time you go to the main report, especially on a Google report, there will be some food that's being recalled. So some people think it's a conspiracy, because they said, a while back, and this is a couple years back, all these places that bring in food and they can the food. I mean, all these places started burning down all of a sudden. There were several of them that just caught fire and burnt down. And somebody said, well, that's a conspiracy. Well, I don't know if it is or it's not. I don't know what the deal is with all this. I'm just saying to you that, exercise discretion and caution, and use wisdom and be prudent. And, some of this stuff on this list I've eaten before. So, in fact, many years ago, excuse me for just a minute, in town here, there was a restaurant, and I used to eat spinach with my meal. If they had it, I ordered it, and I still do at a good restaurant, don't get me wrong, but I ate some that day and I got food poisoning. And I'm telling you, I had to go preach, and I was so sick. You can take charcoal pills for that now and it helps some, but I'm telling you, I was up all night long, and my stomach was hurting, and it was horrible for about 2 days, almost about 48 hours of that. And I know that I couldn't even think of spinach without getting nauseous. If you've ever been food sick before, or had some kind of a food sickness because of something you ate, you know what I'm talking about. When you see it, it's like, and it's like your stomach starts churning. Well, that was many years ago, so I'm over that now. But these kind of things happen. And so this is why we pray over our food before we eat it. And when I went through that food poisoning, I started rebuking my food. I said, I rebuke this food that has anything negative in it, contamination. I was rebuking it. And I did it. Everybody was laughing at me at the table when I did it. But that's why you bless your food and ask God to bless it, nourish your body, and let no harm come through it. And we're taught to, give us, Lord, our daily bread. So always keep that in mind when you're eating before any meal, whether it's out traveling or even at home. Well, thank you for your time. I just, I wonder kind of what your thoughts are on that. If you watch this, we take our comments off of YouTube. We have way too many comments to have to handle and answer and deal with. So we don't do that. But when we do it on our Facebook page, sometimes you can comment. Let me know if you've ever had a food sickness. I'd like to hear from you and let me know kind of what did you eat that caused it. And I know that's just a curiosity I have, because I've had friends that tell me they're really strange stories about that. But anyway, whatever you want to comment is fine. Thank you for your time. Keep watching. We always have an offer after the YouTube advertisement, and it may be something you're interested in.
God has reserved the revelation of many prophetic mysteries for the time of the end, a time when knowledge shall increase. Daniel declared, "None of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand." This powerful truth is what inspires us to host an annual prophetic summit, bringing together America's leading speakers and revelators, all gifted in discerning and interpreting end-time events. The 2025 Summit featured 14 powerful services with 7 prophetic leaders that Perry Stone is now making available to you in this special Manifest TV offer. When you order, you'll experience these 5 insightful messages from Perry. Is Trump a reformer leading a great American reset? Feasting on the wrong blood, Christians that are fellowshipping with demons. Why is God shaking churches and ministries before the rapture? The vision, chastisement because of defiant Christians, the nomophobia strike. How angelic demonic wars in heaven are affecting weather on earth. Joseph Z. illustrated his unique insights on the whiteboard with A Revelation on the Spirit of Elijah, the Future of America. Bill Cloud brought Hebraic insight to the summit with these two messages. He is about to turn the tables over. He trains my hands for war. Mark Biltz used PowerPoint illustrations and charts to reveal Hebrew nuggets in his two teachings. Genesis mysteries from the Hebrew language. Birth pangs of the final redemption. John Kilpatrick posed the question, "The earth is speaking. Are you listening?" Plus, Jonathan Cahn expounds with a powerful message tracing the dragon's attack on Israel, and Mario Murillo hits hard with his message, "Away with the sissy false prophets." All 14 messages are now available on DVD for $95 and audio CD or USB drive for $65. This offer is also available for purchase as a digital audio download and video on demand when you visit perrystone.org. DVDs and video on demand include all PowerPoints, whiteboards, scriptures, and illustrations shown by the speakers. You'll receive over 14 hours of prophetic teaching, an investment in knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Your purchase helps Perry Stone Ministries continue a global outreach. To order, visit perrystone.org or call toll-free 1-888-21-BREAD. That's 1-888-212-7323. Or write to Perry Stone, P.O. Box 3595, Cleveland, Tennessee 37320. Include your check and the appropriate offer number. For DVDs, use offer number 25PS-DVD. For CDs, use offer number 25PS-CD. And for USB drive, use offer number 25PS-USB. If you love biblical prophecy, this could be your greatest spiritual investment in 2025. We look forward to hearing from you soon.
Searching for a message that inspires and uplifts, delivered precisely when you need it? Perry Stone offers immediate access to a vast collection of teachings grounded in God's Word. Visit perrystone.org/downloads to explore over 400 digital audio teachings in MP3 format, compatible with any device. Simply select your teaching, complete your purchase, and receive an instant download link, both on the checkout page and via email. Click Save As to store it securely, ensuring unrestricted access whenever you need it. For those who prefer video, perrystone.tv provides a dedicated video-on-demand platform featuring the latest conferences, teaching series, and Perry Stone's current manifest messages, all available instantly. This direct approach eliminates shipping fees and delays, especially beneficial for international audiences as it bypasses prolonged transit times. Plus, when making international purchases, your payment card automatically converts foreign currencies to your home currency using the exchange rate provided by the payment network, simplifying the transaction process. Whether audio or video, it's a timely, impactful word ready whenever you are.